What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Cornelia, back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. Y'all know what it is. It's officially that time of year where I complain and whine about not going to Essence Festival. It is, y'all, it's that time again. Yay! Price is Right music. It is officially that time when I straight whine about how I did not go to Essence Festival again for the gazillionth year in a row after I said I was gonna go. Now, in my defense, the funds that I had set aside to go to Essence Festival, I had to use them for other travels, which were way more important than Essence Festival. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Some things you have to go to, and in my case, I had some funerals to go to. So I ain't missing out on no funerals because I want to save up my Essence Festival money. And I had a couple dollars that I could have dipped into to go, but it was so last minute because I don't want to go over budget in these rocky economic times. I'm preparing for whatever's to come, even though I ain't gonna claim nothing for myself, okay? But once again, I didn't get to go, and I was sitting pouty all weekend watching the live stream. So let me do a recap from what I saw, because it was a good old time. Essence Music Festival's 30th anniversary. It's been 30 years, y'all, that they've been doing this. And now it's much more bigger than what it started with. Before it started with the music festival, now they have music. There's a film festival. There are vendors, of course. There are panel discussions, different stages. You also even have, I believe I saw, like they had authors and book writers featured. Like it's a whole lot more. So shout out to Essence for continuing that on for so long, because that's not an easy thing to do, especially as you have different generations phasing out of wanting to go to things and new generations coming up, and those generations being drastically different in regards to their music taste. That is one thing that I feel like is more and more on display across the board, not just at Essence, but overall. The music is so different between generations, as were before. And I was trying to think about this. I've been thinking about this over the last few months about how we consume music and why I felt like, and I don't want to be like Gen Z and millennial. I hate doing that, but it's just an observation. I felt like we were more sonically exposed to music than people are now. And I was like, why? And I saw this TikTok of this lady bringing up how when you would turn on MTV and you would turn on VH1, the music television programs back in the 80s and 90s, that was all you had to listen to. You had the radio. She didn't bring this about the radio, but I'm bringing that up, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But when you turn on MTV, you had no choice but to listen to freaking the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg. It was just this hodgepodge of music. And because those were the only channels dedicated to that, you just listen to it. And you realize, oh, shoot, I really like this. Nirvana is jamming. And that's how we became, I won't say included, but engulfed in music of all genres. And even with hip hop, you was only gonna get hip hop one or 2 hours out the day. They wasn't playing that all day. Same with radio stations. I remember growing up in Flint, and if you from Flint listen to this, you know what I'm talking about. We had one major radio station that we listened to all the time, 92.7 WDZZ. They didn't play hip hop on WDZZ until 9 o'clock p.m., the Fat 99. That was the only main hour where you can hear consistent or straight hip hop and hip hop soul, which was kind of the new genre, the Mary J. Blige genres. Outside of that, I remember we would ride on the school bus to going to school, and the buses had radios. Child, we would be singing along to Luther Vandross. Okay? Don't Want to Be a Fool. Gerald Levert, the OJs. If it was on black radio and your aunties was listening to it, we had to listen to it because that was all that was on the station. So that's why we were exposed to much more music than people are now. So with that in mind, at Essence, you can tell that there is a constant conversation about which types of artists should perform on the main stage, because you have to find ways to connect with everybody. Gen Z, millennials, baby boomers. You just have to, and Gen X, you have to find a way to merge with and to relate to 4 generations of black people. So with that said, this year's 30th anniversary headliners was Usher Raymond, who did a 20th anniversary celebration of Confessions. Y'all, the album came out 20 years ago. Can you believe it? I can't. Janet Jackson performed. She was one of the headliners. And then there was a Cash Money reunion on Friday night. Other performers, SWV, Victoria Monet, Frankie Beverly. There was a Frankie Beverly featuring Maze tribute. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is their last year touring with Frankie. They replaced Frankie and the new lead singer was there last night performing. But y'all, Mr. Frankie, when they brought Mr. Frankie out, I was like, oh yeah, it's time. That poor thing, they had him up until past midnight. Mr. Frankie, hey, I'm sure he was barely hanging on, okay? Mr. Frankie, hey. So they had that. Overall, a good time. So a couple things to note. One, this year, Essence did not partner with Hulu and do the live stream. They streamed directly from their website, essence.com, also a little bit on their YouTube channel, which was great because especially in today's environment or climate, some people don't want to go back into large settings like that. Some people can't afford a full weekend because with hotel, flight, and concert tickets, you coming out of grip. So it was good to stream. We didn't get to see Charlie Wilson because for some reason they did not show that to the people at home, which may have been a contract thing because performers have to agree that they want to be streamed. And so maybe Uncle Charlie said he didn't want to do that. But for the most part, for Usher, great. It was a great time. He performed songs, all the songs from Confessions, and it was really nice to hear him actually perform those because some of those songs he never sings. Maybe he has sung them over the years in some variation at some of his concerts, but when I tell you he did every song, interludes included, he did it. Some of the structuring of the set, I was kind of like, okay. But y'all know Usher gonna be singing and dancing his ass off, and he still sound low-key. His voice sounds better than it did when he was a younger man. But one thing to note, he had a theme when he first came on stage, and it was like a church theme. There was a cross. He had a cross on the back of his jacket. He had a choir out there in robes. The theme seemed a little misplaced based on the songs that he was using them for, but the choir sounded fantastic. Background vocals was background vocaling, but the Saints in the live stream was pissed off. The Saints didn't like that he was singing about some sexy songs and he had some sexy dancers with the choir robes standing on stage with the cross in the background. Hey, the Saints was mad. I wasn't mad, but the Saints was fussing in the live stream. FYI. Great job though. Great job. Janet Jackson's performance was great. Janet is like 58 years old, I think I read. Y'all, 58? Still dancing, still performing, still on the road. And touring is not an easy feat, especially when you a mom. Because y'all, don't forget, Janet got a little son. Okay, she got a kid at the house. She has a child. Now, she has all the resources to be able to provide a life and structure the life around her kid so that it works for everyone. But y'all, for her to be still singing and dancing and performing at that age, it's actually something very admirable, because some of our OGs that are the class and the generation above Janet, they don't be dancing. They stand at that microphone with the gown on and they be singing. So it's really lovely just to see an artist age gracefully and their performance to age that way, because you don't often see that. And you don't often see them continuing to perform and leave the show saying, you know what, that was really nice. Because I can point to another one of the pop girlies, not of the African American persuasion, where, child, she be on stage cutting up. So, hey, still love her. Okay. But, so it was nice. Janet did her thing. She performed some songs that she didn't usually perform in a while. That one with Kaya. I remember she had that song with Kaya that Jermaine Dupri. I think was it Jermaine Dupri or D Millie produced that. So excited. She performed that. She performed some of her like blacker songs, if you will, at Essence. So she had a good time. I mean, I had a good time, and it looked like she enjoyed herself, because you can tell when somebody be checked out during performing, and I just don't get that vibe from Janet. And I'm going to go see her live. If she come back to LA, I'm getting a ticket. I don't care who can go or not. I'm going. But the thing that was the most interesting throughout the weekend was the Cash Money reunion. So we all know Cash Money Records took over for the 99 2000. Okay. We know they took over for the 99 2000. We know they New Orleans natives, Louisiana down. We know that. We also know, maybe some people don't, there has been lingering beef and or issues throughout Cash Money, the original members, for quite some time, in many different ways and different variations amongst different people. I don't have all the details because I really don't remember, but from what I recall and based on what I have been reading over the last few days, Lil Wayne still has some type of issue with Birdman, allegedly. Let me say this, allegedly. I don't know if they had to resolve that money issue that they had, but remember, some money issues. Apparently also, Turk last year was going on rants and talking crazy. Allegedly, Birdman didn't like that. That's what people was on Twitter saying. I don't know how true that is, because I wasn't checking and seeing what Turk was saying. People were also saying that because if you watched or were there, Cash Money performed together, Manny Fresh, Birdman, Juvenile, BG was even performing, and y'all know BG just got out this or last year. So this was BG's first time on stage in what? Almost 20 years, maybe? He been locked up for a long time. So BG was even there performing his hits. My favorite, Cash Money is an Army. Better yet, a Navy, in the word. So, but the point is, people were saying that Lil Wayne said ahead of the show and during the show that if Turk was not invited, he would not be doing no Cash Money songs as a group. Don't know how true that was. At some point during the live stream, you can hear people in the backstage arguing about who was going on and what they doing to run a show. People was getting cussed out. We heard it on the live stream. Hey, I didn't mute it. I didn't mute. I turned up the volume. I was like, dang, what they talking about? Who said that? That's crazy. So they was fussing, but Lil Wayne showed up and did his solo 30-minute-ish set. So he had his moment. Juvenile had his moment, because y'all know Juvenile. Listen, y'all know Juvenile, my dog. I don't know him personally. That's my dog. And honestly, when they were performing, while I have had phases of favorite artists and regions where I was like more locked in than others, but I kind of forgot how much I used to fool with Cash Money. I was having a good time. I'm talking about, again, Mannie Fresh, Birdman, Juvenile, BG, and Lil Wayne. Man, I had a good time. I hope, though, that they get to the point where they can resolve whatever differences that they have. Don't know if that's possible, because Birdman did a little speech at the end and said he gonna represent for his city, and he ain't gonna never get to the point where he a PAN word. So I don't know if they'll get to a point where they can resolve those differences to the point where they could officially go on or produce a Cash Money tour. But right now, where we are and how nostalgia and eras are seeked out, they could clean up. If Cash Money could get it together, they could go hit the road and clean up. If Wayne, Juvenile, BG, Mannie Fresh, Birdman, and Turk could, even if they found a way to just work together for the sake of the tour, child, that tour sell out. I ain't even lit. That tour gonna sell out. Okay? Even if they did just a southern tour, 4 nights in New Orleans, wherever, sold out. So I wish them the best because I want to go to the show. Other thing, SWV still sounds fantastic. Coco, Usher, and Brandy should do a masterclass session on how to maintain your vocal cords and your vocal instrument after 20 plus years or 30 plus years of singing and performing. Because for Coco to still sound as good as she sounds with hitting some of the notes that she be having to hit in them songs, that's a feat within its own. Because if you don't know how to use your voice, you could really mess it up. And I say that as hearing and knowing comedians and even myself, my voice, because I did not know when I started really performing and being on stage and talking every night, telling jokes for extended periods of time, that I didn't know how to manage and use my vocal cords and my voice. My voice is totally different than what it used to be. And it can't go backwards. So those artists, man, listen, I'm talking about vocals, top notch. And in summary, will I miss Essence Festival again? Knowing myself, probably. I'm going to hope for the best, though. Honestly, it usually depends on who the artists are. If they have another lineup like they did for this 30th anniversary, I'm in the building. Let me know your thoughts, though. Did you get a chance to participate? Did you go fly out of New Orleans and go to Essence Festival? And side note, I've never been to New Orleans. I know. You're shocked. I know you're shocked. Child, I've been to Alabama. I've been to Georgia, Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia. I've been in the South. Only southern states that I have not been to, Louisiana and Mississippi. And I ain't going to Mississippi. Ain't going. But I still have not been to Louisiana, most notably New Orleans. So I got to get down there. But let me know your thoughts about all of this. You can find me at Canelia on social media. The Not Like Us video came out. And it was a good time. Like we thought it would be. Kendrick Lamar is, and I feel like low key, he's actually not going as hard as he could with Not Like Us. Because people on social media was complaining. They was saying, dang, it's been like 2 months and all we hear about is Not Like Us. They ain't enough. He running this into the ground. Y'all, they played the Spice Girls, If You Want to Be My Lover, for 3 years. The Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way, 3 years. We had to hear the Macarena for 5 years. Ricky Martin, Living La Vida Loca, they played that my entire high school and the beginning of college. Okay? This is normal play for songs. Social media and streaming got us messed up. Bobby Brown worked the Don't Be Cruel album from 1989 to 1992. Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation album, she worked that album for 3.5 years. Michael worked Bad for 3 years. Whitney Houston worked that Bodyguard. Y'all, we had to listen to that Bodyguard album for years. You know how many times I Will Always Love You came on? And for how many years? End of the Road by Boyz II Men was on TV and radio every day, multiple times a day for 47 years. So I don't want to hear nobody talking about After Too Much, Not Like Us, is being ran into the ground. Hush your mouth. But with that said, the video was a good time. We got a feature from her, from Whitney, his wife, and the kids, which was a good time. Whitney was stepping, honey. She was doing her little walk. Hey, Whitney she got that footwork now. Whitney was looking cute. She got that footwork on her. And there were Easter eggs throughout the video that I'm not going to really like dissect on here. And listen, the little rap boys be on social media dropping their little Easter egg videos immediately after. So somebody already did the work. Child, head over to the YouTube to see it. But there were some funny moments, and it was a lot of nods to LA, Compton in particular. He had the clown dancers in there. He was at local LA spots. It was people within the video that were from Compton. Child, Brandon T. Jackson even snuck his little butt up in the video, okay? It overall was a good video for, one, the diss, because there were definitely things that were very OVO specific. Him bashing the owl, pinata, the owl being in the cage at the end, all of this. But it also is a good video to the point where it can continue to play and be watched years from now without people having to know the backstory of what was going on in order to enjoy the video, right? It was good on both fronts. It served both purposes, which again, kudos to Kendrick Lamar. Now, what's going to be next for him? I don't know. I do not know. The rumor was that he was supposed to have an album dropping, and they kept talking about it was going to drop like a month ago. Album ain't out, but looking forward to it. I think the next Kendrick Lamar show tour, I'm gonna go. I haven't seen him in person, so I'm gonna definitely go to that. But I know the album gonna be fire because low key Kendrick Lamar ain't put out a bad album. People say they don't like certain ones, but you can tell there are different aspects of his life and they serve different purposes, which is what art is supposed to do. Even if you look at the Black Panther soundtrack, we talked about this from Black News before. Technically, the Black Panther soundtrack is a Kendrick Lamar album. People just don't consider it one because there are other artists featured and it was movie related. But he produced and was the driver of the theme behind that. He was summoned by Ryan Coogler and co. to produce and create that project. Yes, other artists were featured on it, but Kendrick Lamar, listen, I see the vision, my brother. I see the vision. So if you haven't seen the video, check it out. Feel free to let me know your thoughts about it. Again, you guys know where to find me. You can find me at Canelia on social media.
What is the difference between being with black women and being with...
He comes into the home. They're not, nigga, what you talking about? Unless you giving me this, doing that. There's no respect of the man, the black man, in that by black women. And I'm not black women do not be mad at me. Cook, girl, you don't even know how to cook. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's all black women. Can side, that Asian, Korean, Japanese, that other side is where, you know, culturally, those women were not, those women were taught to hold down. But it's more than subservience. It's don't get it twisted. I know you know how to cuss a thorough man, cuss a man out thoroughly, but as soon as you cussing him out, you still making dinner, you still washing his clothes, you still cleaning the house. And you're not doing that with, you know, this is my job. That's just what you were trained to do. And I think that kind of training, you know, how you want to ride in a Bugatti, how you want to go on a yacht, but you don't know how to wash your own clothes. You don't know how to vacuum. You don't know how to put nothing. You don't know how to... Promise you want. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. Hey, who gonna put the money on your books? I'll put the money on. No, you can go to jail. Take your black ass to jail. This motherfucker for you. So have some, you know, it's a different energy. It's not like maybe, okay, thank you for your criticism. Thank you for your honest, constructive criticism. And, you know, we can get it better. Or cook it for yourself. Yeah. You want a cup of noodles? You want some ramen? Somebody else come cook it.
That was Columbus Short. Columbus Short, the actor, the at one point star of the hit television drama Scandal. That was Columbus Short, the former dancer. Y'all, at one point he was doing stand-up comedy, but that's neither here nor there. That was Columbus Short. And the video you heard went viral on social media after he appeared on a podcast, because y'all know all this stuff be happening on podcasts. I'm on a podcast. He on a podcast. We're all on podcasts. So many podcasts. But if you listen to the video, it was jumping. It was because it was edited. That video was edited. And I have not listened to the unedited version. So I hope there were some key parts missing from the edit. I hope the jump cuts took out some context, not because I think the context should have been missing, but there's no way that this could have been the statement without the context. Y'all, what do people be talking about? What do people be talking about? And I could probably be guilty of this because I know how to ramble. I can talk about something, and even if I don't really know what I'm talking about, I can find a way for me to insert something that I do know about. Or I can ramble and at least make it sound like I have a minor understanding of what's going on. It may sound a mess, but it might hit a couple points. You feel me? But in this case, boy, what are you talking about? We got to stop asking people questions. We have to stop asking people questions, and we have to stop asking people certain questions. Because now we are in a time of age, if you a celebrity, and let me back up. We got to get to the point where we got to stop answering questions depending on what the question is in the platform. Because now if you are a black man or a black woman and you are asked about your views on relationship as it pertains to the same demographic, and in this case, black women versus black men, you are about to or have the possibility of setting yourself up for the okie doke. Because now all you see are people at war with each other in regards to ideologies, viewpoints, perspectives, morals and values, rules, all of that. You could say the most basic thing is my parents were married for how many years? And then somebody will jump into your comments, will be like, so you think you better than us? That don't mean they was happy for that amount of time. How you know they was actually married? Did you talk to your mama? That could have been miserable. Who is your daddy? Did he really like her? Monogamy ain't for us. We animals. You name it, people gonna chime in. It's gonna be some negative. So we need to be mindful of who we're asking certain questions to, because I don't know why someone would think with Columbus Short's background, and no disrespect to him, because I think Columbus is a wonderful actor, and I have been sad or eternally disappointed since he left Scandal in the early seasons that his career did not do what I thought it should have done. Because low key, and you can take this to the bank, Columbus Short was supposed to have the career that Michael B. Jordan got. Go walk with me here. Walk with me. Okay? Walk with me. He started off dancing. Stump the Yard put him on the map. This was a time where you had to decide between being a TV actor or a movie actor. He could have stayed in movies. But when he came over to Scandal, Scandal was the biggest show on TV, and Columbus Short was the star along with Kerry Washington. Him and her were driving that show. He was phenomenal on Scandal. Go back and watch Scandal when he was on that show. That should have put him into the stratosphere of being able to dictate and call his own shots and make his career what we thought it should have been. Them Michael B. Jordan roles. Not to say that he would be exactly like he gonna be Adonis Creed and them, but that caliber of actor, Michael B. Jordan. Hey man, I'm just saying. But with that in mind, based on his background, especially with his history with women, allegedly, supposedly, I don't know, word on the street, he ain't the person that you should be asking about relationships. Don't put that man in a situation where you asking him that. Don't put him in there, because now you post the clip, everybody dragging him on social media, people digging up old dirt. He had to issue an apology, which I'm not going to even play. He said he's sorry. But we need to get past this idea of wanting clicks and views and not put people in these situations where they be saying stuff. And the people who are asked these questions, you got to learn how to get in and get out that answer, or just not answer at all. So let's keep that in mind. I know when you be on the spot, I know this happens to me. I'm on the spot. Somebody asks me something, I'm going to answer. Then once you answer, you like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have said that. That's crazy. Oof. And it's too late. So with that said, let's keep that boy lifted in prayer, because child, they was tearing him up. What do y'all think about it? What y'all think about the comments? Hit me up on social media and let me know. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about the 30th anniversary of Essence Festival and this year's performances. We also talked about the Not Like Us video that was released by Kendrick Lamar, and also some comments made on a podcast by Columbus Short. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Kennelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is Kennelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.